Hey, Captain Logos here, preacher at large, teaching the word, inspiring 3 minutes at a time. It was in Judges again still today. Apparently there's some folks out there that need to be reassured about what God is about to do in their life and what they're supposed to do. Because he spoke pretty clearly to me this morning. So if you go into Judges 7, you'll hear of this dude named Jerubbaal. If that doesn't ring a bell, maybe his other name will. Gideon. Yeah, that's right. Gideon. Also known as Jerubbaal. Right? He had 32,000 people with him. And he was afraid to go down to the Midianites because he didn't know if he had enough people. He had 32,000 people. But God said, nah, that's too many people. So he weeded out everybody all the way down to 300. Incidentally, he weeded out the afraid and the careless. All right? He got down to 300. So what can we learn from this? When we look at a problem, an issue, a decision, and we think we don't have what it takes, we don't have enough, we can't get there from here, God is looking at the same situation and saying, man, you got way too much stuff there to accomplish that little thing. You see, in our mind, whatever that next step is in our life, or whatever that trial we're facing, or whatever that next step is, we're unprepared. We don't think we can do it. But God is saying, oh man, you got way too much stuff. You got way too much stuff. Yeah, you got way too much stuff. You may not be bigger than the problem that you're facing or the situation that you're facing, but let me assure you that God is bigger than the situation that you're facing. Right? Now remember, he called the afraid and the uncareful. He probably should have called Gideon, because in here in a minute we're going to see that Gideon still had a little bit of doubt and almost a little bit of being afraid. Incidentally, those 300 that were left that went down and did the work for the Lord, guess what? They had to be tested. Yeah. They were tested, right? So if you're going to do the Lord's work, you're going to be tested. So if you're in a testing period, understand if you're going to do the Lord's work, you're going to be tested, right? Gideon still had doubt, so if you're still having doubt, it's okay. Gideon still had doubt. He didn't ask for the Lord to put a fleece, but God actually threw one out there right away. He said, all right, Gideon. He says, if you're still afraid, go down with your servant and listen to what the people of the Midianites are saying. So God let them go down there and hear that they were afraid of Gideon coming. So it's okay to have some fear, but it's not okay to let that fear grip you and keep you and freeze you from doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? Don't ever do that. Now here's another thing, right? God is bigger than your problems. But in order to overcome those problems or that situation or to make that next step, Gideon tells his people to say, look at me and do what I do. Because God had given him the plan. He knew where he was supposed to do. And God appointed him as the leader. And he said, look at me and do what I do. And if those 300 men hadn't done what Gideon told them to do, they would have never done what God wanted them to accomplish. So you need to do what God is telling you to do. You need to do what your leaders are telling you to do. Right? And you'll have a favorable outcome. Now, incidentally, y'all probably know the story. He went down, he killed all the Midianites, took all the kings. He had to chase a couple of the kings, but he finally got them all, right? God came in a miraculous way. At one point, I think they said there were about 22,000 dead, right? He had 300 men. He killed thousands and thousands, right? Tens of thousands. But, oh, by the way, in the very next chapter, after he has this great miracle of God battle, God showed up in a big way. He still had to deal with people who were upset. Look, there's always going to be people upset in your life, no matter what God is doing, no matter what you're doing. So just ignore those people and move on. Remember, Gideon did it with 300 people. He thought he didn't have enough, but God said you had way too many. Whatever you're facing, God in your life is enough. Rely on him. Now, look at your face in the Bible.